Welcome to the third installment of The Dude Perspective. In this installment, we will be looking at the book In 5 Years by Rebecca Serle. In The Dude Perspective, we take a chick book and we provide perspective as a dude. The goal of The Dude Perspective is to engender larger conversations across broader audiences and to provide a path forward towards a more well-rounded worldview for all of us dudes out there looking for that kind of thing. It isn't my intent to insult the creators. I've said before in other videos, creating is hard, criticizing is easy, full stop. So, Ms. Serle, if you happen to stumble across this video, credit to you for creating and writing and putting stuff out there. I am at your service. With that out of the way, let's get on with the Dude Perspective. Today we'll be talking a lot about love. Now, I know what you're thinking. What does a dude know about love? That's a fair question, dear viewer, and it was a question that my wife posed to me when I was pitching this video idea to her.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
I can offer that the average dude might have a little bit of a learning disability when it comes to love. At the very least, my experience tells me that maybe there's a little bit of a gap there in the understanding between men and women on what constitutes love. But I have noticed that it's been consistent that us guys have a pretty fair approach to it when we consider whether or not love is eternal, whether or not love is conditional, and what manifestations happen in love because of those two very important attributes. The events of this book revolve around two women, Danny and Bella. At first, I was thinking that the book was about Danny because the story does revolve around her and takes place from her perspective. But the more I started reading it, the more I considered maybe the idea that it was actually about Bella and they were just using Danny as the vehicle to explain Bella. But the main reason that I was doing that was not because of the book itself or the narrative. It was just because I was trying to find a positive way to approach this book. I think the point of the book might be something to the effect of love should be, or maybe can be, more instantaneous, transactional, and not necessarily eternal. And spoiler alert. If you don't want to know what happens in the book, this is where you want to stop watching the video if you haven't already. We see the events of the book from the perspective of Danny, a young, at the start of the book anyway, corporate lawyer who lives in New York City with her longtime boyfriend David. Early in the book, David proposes to Danny and they become engaged. They do not set a date because stuff is happening in their lives. Later that night, Danny is startled out of sleep to find herself in a strange apartment with a strange man she has never met. She knows the date is December 15th, 2025, which is 5 years beyond the last date she recalls. She can't figure out if the situation is real, but sleeps with the dude she met anyway because, he's right there, I guess. And she falls asleep again and awakes to find herself back in her apartment in the year 2020. Now, I will point out that the book doesn't necessarily explicitly say the year is 2020, but, the math's there. I'm pretty good at that stuff. Danny is shaken by the experience and what she felt. She goes to a shrink and quickly moves on with her life. Danny's career is on an upward trajectory, and she gets a interview with the law firm in New York City. She crushes the interview, gets the job, and 4 years pass as the dream fades into nothing until Danny meets her friend Bella's new fiancé, Aaron. It is the man from her dream. This brings Danny to realize that she should set a date for the wedding with David. Danny is doing this because she wants to claim control of her future and prevent her dream from coming true. Danny and David set a date. Bella gets an ovarian cancer diagnosis. Danny gets her dream case at work. In this dream case at work, Danny demonstrates to one of the key partners in the firm that she can be a gut lawyer. This, of course, cements her path to the partnership in the law firm there. David finally gets tired of getting put off by Danny, dumps her, and kicks her out of the apartment.
Sensitive love letters are my specialty. Dear baby, welcome to Dumpville. Population, you.
Danny winds up moving in with Bella and Aaron. Bella, being an artist and a decorator, buys, furnishes, and decorates an apartment for Danny. Turns out that apartment that she bought and decorated was the one from her dream. Bella dies, Danny and Aaron knock boots. Danny relives the after boots dream sequence with Aaron. Danny learns about love from the life of her friend Bella. My Audible review for this book is entitled Like Watching a 6-Hour Commercial and got 3 stars out of 5. What I liked about the book was that it was at least interesting enough to keep me coming back to it. I mean, I wanted to finish it and I wanted to see where this thing was going. I believe the length was spot on and was glad it wasn't any longer. And finally, I liked the setup. I just think the resolution was weak. It is my understanding that details bring the story to life, and this book had plenty of details and therefore plenty of life. This book presents Danny as a Jewish woman. Of course, she is young. Of course, she is talented. And of course, she wears the pants in the family. Danny is female and Jewish and strong. And the fun doesn't stop there because Bella is an artist. A talented artist, a wildly successful talented artist in New York. So pushing all of that stuff aside, and it's hard because, boy, every other sentence is some reference to virtue signal and show that Danny's part of the upper class. So you push all that stuff aside and you look at it as a dude and you say, okay, what's this book about? And really, you've got these two characters. One of them is the buttoned up Danny, who's kind of a little bit more regimented, in her approach to life. And then it's her friend Bella, who's a little bit more of a free spirit. And of course, their love lives kind of parallel that, right? Like Danny's been with this David guy forever, but she never commits. And Bella has been with a number of guys that she never commits with either. So you have two possible interpretations of the ending. One of them would be that this is an affirmation of life and love, right? And the other one would be, well, this is a tragedy. In the affirmation of life or love, well, you have somebody that was kind of buttoned up, stuck in a marriage that wasn't, or a relationship that wasn't going anywhere. And now they're free and they're free to pursue that. They're free to pursue whatever relationships they want, and along with their career, which Danny clearly loves more than anything else in her life. So from that perspective, Danny used the death of Bella to wake herself up from that, and now she's free to go on a different trajectory, I guess. But in the other view of it, you've got this tragedy. You've got this person who lost somebody that's incredibly important to him, and Danny's inability to self-introspect with any level of criticality winds up being her Achilles heel. Danny has bought the idea that, well, career is the most important thing. And it might be. That's her choice to make, right? But no one ever gets on their deathbed or sits in the rocking chair thinking, boy, I wish I would have spent more time at the office. So you've got this young privileged lady in this swirling upper class privileged arena, and no one ever tells her anything's wrong. No one ever gives her a different perspective. And of course, she never spends any time anywhere but the coasts. The tragedy in 5 years is that Danny has all of the tools in order to make the best decisions in her life, and she winds up making the same decision everyone's been telling her to make for the past 30 years. So like I mentioned earlier, the dude perspective is all about having a more well-rounded worldview, right? Getting exposed to new ideas and new horizons. And that's what I find so annoying about this book, because there's nothing new about it. There's no new ideas, and there certainly isn't no new horizon. It takes place in New York City with every other book, just like this one. Which brings me back to the setup, because like I mentioned, the setup of the book was good. There's a little bit of an interest there. There's a little bit of an intrigue and like, what's going on here? And then, of course, when we try to wind up delivering on it, it just falls flat. Doesn't even get close. So what's the dude perspective? Well, the dude perspective is, you know what you need? You know what you need, America? You need yet another book saying everything that every other book is already saying. Anyway, that is the dude perspective on In 5 Years. If you read it, please let me know. Please comment on the video. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me that I've completely missed the point, but do comment, share, like, subscribe, and keep an eye out, because this is life, if I recall correctly.
It's not going to be